Major League Baseball welcomes you to the following presentation of the Cleveland Guardians.
It was a scorcher today here in Kansas City, Missouri. Kind of day that makes you want to jump in the fountain. But don't do that. They'll throw you in the clink. I know from experience. Guardians TV presented by Progressive. This is where we will be holed up for the next 4 nights as the Guards and the Royals open up this 4-game series. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Chris Jimenez. Only the second Central Division foe the Guardians have played this year. They took 2 out of 3 from Kansas City earlier this year. Tanner Bybee gets the start on the mound. He should feel right at home, Chris. He's never lost to these Royals in Kansas City.
And boy, does he want to see that right now since he has 0 wins on the season. What better team to come in here and get your first win against than the Kansas City Royals? Well, we're going to talk a lot about his changeup today in particular. It has been his best pitch by the numbers standpoint this year. And oh yeah, by the way, he has yet to give up a hit with that changeup to a right-handed batter this season. It has been his best pitch statistically, like I mentioned. He's going to have to utilize that pitch a significant amount tonight, as this is a very aggressive Kansas City Royals team early in counts in particular.
Let's take a look at Tanner Bybee's career numbers here at Kauffman Stadium, and then overall against the Royals, 9 starts, a .306 earned run average, so he should match up well against KC.
He really
tonight.
should, and this is the type of guy that you want to have start off a tough 4-game series against a division rival. Still hard to believe, though, only 3 games versus division opponents, and we're sitting here at May 4th.
I know. Well, and what's also going to be interesting to watch tonight, the changeup, not only from Bybee, but from his counterpart, Michael Wacha. We're just getting started. When we come back, we'll check in with Kaylee Griffin. She goes one-on-one with Angel Martinez. Cleveland Guardians Baseball is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Step up to the plate for savings. Visit Progressive.com. By your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. And by Elk & Elk. For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Well, Angel Martinez is back in the starting lineup this evening for Cleveland. And that's a good thing because he's 6 for 8 against Kansas City, including a grand slam.
You gotta love what this young man has really done from both sides of the plate this year. He has turned himself into an absolute weapon, not only as an outfielder, but now he's an offensive threat for this offense that has really gotten things going.
Yeah, he's bounced between left and right and can play center field. And with more on Angel, we go downstairs to Kaylee Griffin.
Well, Matt, those numbers you just showed speak for themselves. I had to remind Angel during our conversation just exactly what he did in that first series against Kansas City. He batted .750, but on his career, he's batting .351 against the Royals, so not too shabby. But earlier I asked Angel what were his biggest takeaways from that first series in Cleveland, and what needs to be the approach over the next 4 days against a Royals team that's won 7 of their last 9.
We wanted to win, like, I know it's good to always put number, especially against your rivals division, but like, we just wanted to win, like those numbers for me, it doesn't matter if like at the end of the game we're not able to win. So honestly, it's nothing special, just like trying to stay simple and go to the game and do my job. We gotta control the little things, like we gotta get on base, we gotta move it, we gotta score. I know the pitching, they're gonna do their job, so in our side, just like being focused and do the little things, and gonna end up winning the game.
Stephen Vogt added earlier that these teams are built very similarly and they play the game very similarly as well. So anytime they take the field against each other, it's always split pretty evenly. But he said, we always play each other tough. And anytime you go up against the division, it's going to be a lot of fun. Expecting some fun this next 4 days, guys.
Kate, are you buying that? Kayla, are you buying that? He didn't care about the numbers. I don't know about the numbers. 6 for 8 with a grand slam. I think he knows the numbers.
He definitely knows the numbers. I'd know the numbers if I had those kind of numbers.
It's the Guardians and the Royals. Angel Martinez and company getting ready to take their hacks against Michael Wacha of the Royals. We've got the first pitch coming up next. Looks like a beautiful night here in Kansas City. There was a threat of some showers and rain activity, but so far it looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the Guardians starting lineup for Stephen Vogt, brought to you by Progressive. It'll be Stephen Kwan leading it off, followed by Daniel Schneemann, and then Jose Ramirez. Interesting to note that with Michael Walker on the mound, typically you'll see Stephen Vogt load the lineup with all left-handed bats, but he's going with Rhys Hoskins and David Fry just to kind of break things up and make Walker have to adjust throughout the lineup here tonight.
And speaking of Michael Walker, here are his numbers. This is a savvy vet that, again, very knowledgeable, not only in Major League Baseball, but this division. 2-2 with a 3.13, just 14 walks to 33 strikeouts. He's coming at you, 66% first pitch strike percentage. That's the second highest of his career. He'll throw the kitchen sink at most of these righties. The lefties are going to see pretty much a two-pitch pitch. It's that four-seam fastball or a lot of fastballs, two-seam mixed in there with some change-ups as well, but he's got a very unique arm slot as well. And defensively for the Kansas City Royals, Isaac Collins manning left field today, Lane Thomas, our old buddy, in center, and Jack Caglione in right. On the left side of the infield, Michael Garcia and Bobby Witt. On the right side, Nick Lofton starts at second and Vinny Pasquantino at first. Carter Jensen doing the catching today.
Vic Carapazza will call the balls and strikes. He's the crew chief. John Bacon is your first base umpire. Edwin Moscoso is down at second, and Nick Wentz is your third base umpire. These two teams are about as even as it gets over their last 42 games. Cleveland has won 22. Kansas City has won 20. The line at tonight's first pitch from Michael Walker is swung on and popped up. Nick Lofton, the second baseman, has it. One pitch, one out. And our keys to the game are brought to you by Toyota. Keep the momentum. You can say that for both teams. Kansas City has won 7 out of 9 coming into tonight off a 3-game sweep of the Mariners in Seattle.
That is certainly true. And change of pace. Tanner Bybee going to have to utilize that changeup today a significant amount. Again, mentioned this in the open, one of the most aggressive teams with the first pitch swing percentage of any team in Major League Baseball.
Game time temperature tonight is 80 degrees. Daniel Schneemann rocks one to right field. Moving over, Jack Caglione has the ball just shy of the warning track for out number 2. And that will bring up Jose Ramirez.
Jose might have been the one guy in this offense that didn't have a coming out party in Sacramento this week.
Maybe he was saving it for Kansas City.
Let's hope
because
so.
He's a lifetime .275 batter against the Royals with 32 homers and 107 runs batted in. Hit hard but foul, first base side.
It's pretty amazing. Most home runs versus the Kansas City Royals among active players. Some pretty good names on that list too. The top 2 we know pretty well.
In the air to center, right at him. Lane Thomas has it. 3 fly ball outs from Michael Walker. Guardians will send Tanner Bybee to the mound when we come back.
Payments for 90 days. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
On the mound for the Guardians tonight is Tanner Bybee. Loves pitching in this ballpark, to say the least. You can see the season numbers there, just 0-4. You're hoping, if you're Tanner Bybee, that confidence in this ballpark is going to get you deep into this game. Last 3 starts, though, is what matters most. He's been throwing the ball as consistent as any starter in this Guardians rotation. Had to grind a few out, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Michael Garcia leads it off for Kansas City. And Bybee's pitch is smothered toward third. Ramirez gathers it. And the buggy whip throw across retires Garcia, 1 down. Here's a look at the rest of Matt Quatrero's starting lineup for the Royals. Bobby Witt Jr. is in the 2-hole. Then the big man, Vinny Pasquantino. Salvi Perez will DH tonight. Carter Jensen has the catching duties, batting 5th. Lane Thomas is 6th. Jack Caglione, Isaac Collins, a switch hitter, and Nick Lofton is batting 9th. Guardians did a good job pitching Bobby Witt tough in Cleveland. In the 3-game series, they held him to 4 hits in 11 at-bats. And while that's still nothing to be ashamed of if you're Bobby Witt, his career numbers against Cleveland are pretty good. 28 games, he's got a .324 batting average, and he's hit in 15 of the last 17 head-to-head with Cleveland. The key really with Bobby Witt is, and easier said than done, but keep him off base if possible, because he's a running machine once he gets aboard.
10 stolen bases this year so far.
Down a little low, very close. Bobby thought it was strike 3, did not get the call, and no challenge from Bo Naylor.
This certainly was close. Great pitch at the bottom of the part of the zone there. Probably could have been challenged. Chose not to.
Yeah, I don't know what the effects of losing a first inning challenge are, but we've seen it. You lose a first inning challenge and all of a sudden everybody gets a little defensive. Now you only have one for the rest of the game.
You better make sure you're right.
There's strike 3 called, and Bobby Witt will challenge. He's not afraid.
Challenging a strike call.
Vic Carapazza, the crew chief, a home plate umpire. ABS powered by T-Mobile, and Bobby Witt
Call is confirmed.
is called out on strikes. So he was willing to roll the dice, and he loses. So his team has just one challenge remaining for the rest of the game.
And we'll see how that plays out. Now, a lot of teams are part of the strategy with the ABS system is maybe wait till a little bit later in the game. But that's one of your guys, and you're going to trust his thought process at any point in time.
Benny Pasquantino checks. He did not go. Well, the appeal down to Nick Lentz. Pasquantino off to a slow start, as you see there, but he has picked it up. Last 8 games, 5 extra base hits, 5 runs batted in, and hitting at a .346 clip. This guy is some kind of strong.
He certainly fills up the batter's box, to say the least. They got a couple of guys. The next guy does the same thing.
New dimensions here at Kauffman Stadium, too. We'll have to see for ourselves how it plays out. So far, the early returns are positive for Kansas City's hitters. They're averaging more than 1 home run per game through their first 16 games at home. That has happened 5 times in 53 seasons.
That's
here
amazing.
At Kauffman Stadium.
That is amazing.
The 3-0. Bullseye. I wouldn't say what they did, Chris, was necessarily drastic, and we'll get into it as the game goes on. But it's subtle enough that I think the hitters have already taken notice. 3-1 pitch. In the air, shallow left, in comes Stephen Kwan. And so, turnabout is fair play as the Royals go 1-2-3 themselves, no score after 1.
Rona, La Playa awaits.
Guardian TV is presented by Progressive, the Country Club Plaza, not far from downtown Kansas City. We've spent many a night there.
Certainly have.
A check swing by Rhys Hoskins, and it's ball 1 to start inning number 2. Rhys Hoskins has reached safely in 18 of the 22 games he has started. Pop back our way. Into the upper deck it goes. 1-1. Hoskins has walked in 10 of the last 14 games. So while the batting average has struggled, the on-base percentage is very respectable. And a low throw. What a great pick by Vinny Pasquantino. He saves Bobby Witt. And the Royals get out number 1.
Well, Bobby got to the backhand side. I think he may have rushed the throw just a little bit. Now, Hoskins, yes, he was getting himself down the line, but he had a little extra time there. Nonetheless, Vinny Pasquantino with a nice pick at first.
He's a rangy target. Howard Cosell were still alive, he might even refer to him as the angular one. Bet365 betting odds. Travis Bazzana has reached safely in 6 of 18 plate appearances, and he's got a base hit to start here tonight. A 1-out single in inning number 2 for Bazzana. And ever since he picked up that first hit in Sacramento, you can see he's swinging the bat very well.
Yeah, he got himself a changeup, up in the strike zone, did a good job of letting that ball travel. It's amazing when you get that first hit, that breath of just the fresh air that comes in and out and the weight of the world lifted off your shoulders. And now it's time to see what this young man can do.
4 hits in his last 8 at bats. Here's David Fry. Takes down low. Fry getting another start. And a start against a right-hander. Sometimes as people who cover teams, you have to decipher. You have to kind of read the code from the manager or the head coach when they're speaking. As Fry gets into one. Well struck. Deep left. Collins back on the track. He's out of room. It's out of here. And David Fry puts the Guardians on top with a 2-run homer in inning number 2. His 3rd home run on the year, and getting a little more playing time has certainly paid off. But Stephen Vogt said, I wish I could play all 13 of my guys. But he does. He gets them regular at-bats, and that's why David Fry, who hasn't been starting on a regular basis, is able to step in and do that.
Well, you're only as good as your weakest link. And if your weakest link hasn't had an at-bat in a week or 10 days, you need that guy to come up in a big situation. And this was an opportunity Stephen Vogt took to get David Fry in there, and it's obviously paying dividends this early on.
Angel Martinez beats it into the ground. 2 down. I asked Voter before the game, what he liked about his right-handed hitters matching up against Wacha. And the numbers just said, hey, right-handers are having success against Michael Wacha this year, so let's give them an opportunity.
That's exactly right. And a lot of the times it'll take that changeup away. Michael Wacha will throw all 6 pitches in his repertoire to right-handed batters. That changeup's been a weapon this year.
Popped up foul back to the netting and out of play. So Bo Naylor with 2 down and the bases empty.
Well, Votey right now has got to be grinning ear to ear. That's one of those you take a chance and it pays off.
As competitive as these 2 teams have been, and I gave you the numbers, over the last 3 years plus the 3 games they've played this year, Cleveland is 22-20 against Kansas City. Tons of close games. But the Guardians strike first here in inning number 2 is David Fry with a 2-run homer as the Guards up early.
Salad Stuffer. New salad stuffers at Panera.
Enjoy Guardians baseball fee-free. The Guards take on the Angels next week. Purchase your tickets today and pay 0 ticketing fees. This special offer is only available through 11:59 p.m. on Thursday, May 7th, and only at CLEGuardians.com.
Salvador Perez leads off the home half of the second for Kansas City, and a big swing and a miss. Yanks it foul, and it's 0-2. And I bet if you ask Salvador Perez, he probably feels like it's 0-2 every time he steps in the box against Tanner Bybee.
It's funny how there's always that one guy as a hitter. Tanner happens to be that specific guy for Sal.
He just had his 7-game hitting streak snapped yesterday, so he's been locked in. Takes a look at that pitch up high. Sal's got a birthday coming up on May 10th. He and I will both be 36.
I can't wait to wish both of you a happy birthday.
Now the 1-2. Hit high in the air to center field. Daniel Schneemann. makes the catch, 1 down. StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud. Tanner Bybee, his changeup.
Well, look at that pristine batting average against 105 against left-handed batters, a cool 0 against righties. Talked about that changeup being a very effective pitch for Tanner. When he's got that fastball lane like he's got working tonight, that changeup is doubly effective.
Carter Jensen pops the first pitch up. Center field again. Schneemann is there. And Jensen now 0 for his last 17. 2 down and a word from Bet365.
Did you win?
Let's just say the next round of omelets is on me, fellas.
Bet $10, get $200 in bonus bets.
Lane Thomas. Last 17 games sports a .436 on base percentage. Stephen Vogt went out of his way to talk about the positive impact Lane Thomas had in his brief time with Cleveland. And you know what? At the end of the day, you always say certain things they can never take away from you. Mm-hmm. That moment he gave us in the playoffs, it's one of those forever moments.
It really is. And you wish, just overall, his time in Cleveland could have been, a little bit better. He was hurt for a good majority of it. Yes, he did give us one of the most amazing moments there in the playoffs.
But you're right. Last year, we just never saw the best version of Lane Thomas. Heck, he was barely healthy at all.
And that's unfair, to create your thought process and your opinions on a young man when, unfortunately, his body didn't put up with him.
2-1 pitch in for a strike. And Tanner Bybee evens the count on Lane Thomas.
But Bodie did go on to say that he's one of the best human beings he's ever been around.
Now the 2-2. In the air right field. Moving over Angel Martinez. And 3 fly ball outs for Tanner Bybee. Here in the second. 6 up, 6 down. Through 2. Guardians 2. Royals nothing.
The Guardians host the Twins in a 3-game weekend series May 8th through the 10th. Pick up a district ticket presented by Miller Lite for just $20 and get a standing room ticket and 2 games plus your first drink. Get your tickets today at cleguardians.com.
Brian Rocchio leading off the 3rd inning. He swings at the first pitch. Both teams, Chris, I'm sensing a little bit of aggression.
Just a little.
Back to the top of the order now, it's Stephen Kwan. Well, the Guardians scoring first in inning number 2 on the 2-run homer by David Fry. That means that now 21 times out of Kansas City's 35 games now, their opposition has scored first. That's tied for the most in the majors. So while it's not the end-all be-all, it certainly doesn't help when you're constantly as an offensive group going, okay, boys, we got to go to work.
Now we got to go. Again, too, this pitching staff that they've put together, you just hasn't really gotten off to the greatest start, obviously, from the numbers you just threw up there. But I think in general, a lot of people thought this group has a chance to be a lot better than what it's showing, at least initially.
The Royal starters have been better of late. They've gone at least 5 innings in their last 12 consecutive games, and while that doesn't sound like a lot, that's the longest current streak in baseball.
It is.
And a ground ball to first. Actually, it's the longest streak at all in Major League Baseball this year.
It is hard to believe, but in general, early in the season, you do take it a little bit easier on your starters, and the bullpen's leveraged on a little bit, harder, so to speak. But this is that time of the year where you're a month in, guys are kind of they know the program now, and you hopefully,
you can take your starters and let them roll a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm sure for Brian Sweeney, the Kansas City pitching coach who spent a number of years with Cleveland, he's just happy for the fact that we're not burning up the bullpen early. You keep those guys fresh. It's not like they're abusing their starters. 5 innings. That's really, you're not asking a lot to go 5 innings.
No, and unfortunately, that's kind of the day and age we are playing in right now, too.
But it just means you're not getting blown up, because all it takes is, we saw with Parker Meskey, you have one bad inning, and it might not even be your fault, but if you're out there and you've got to make 30-plus pitches in an inning, that's going to shorten your day, guaranteed by at least an inning or two.
Kansas City's dealt with some injuries in their bullpen. Their closer, Carlos Estevez, has been on the injured list since the first week of the season. Now, Ersig's done a great job. He's come in and done a great job filling in for him.
Full count for Schneemann.
But that's the balance that you have to kind of weigh of the game at hand and not blowing up your entire pitching staff, for the future.
Payoff pitch. And Schneemann will challenge.
Batter is challenging the call of strike.
Nick Carapazza challenged for the second time here in the early going, and he's 2 for 2. Each
Call is
team
confirmed. Cleveland has 1 challenge remaining.
has lost a challenge here early.
And I approve this message.
May the Force be with you. It's Star Wars night on May 9th when the Guardians host the Twins. 15,000 fans will receive a Kyle Manzardo, the Mandalorian, bobblehead courtesy of Sherwin-Williams. Plus, enjoy Star Wars trivia, photo ops, and more. Get your tickets today at CLEGuardians.com.
Here's the Mandalorian.
I'm a bigger fan of this one, personally.
This is the bobblehead they handed off tonight here in Kansas City.
I'm not really sure what that is.
Jack Caglione.
Looks like some kind of candy.
He dipped his bat in honey before the game. The Mandalorian.
I mean, that's just, you couldn't have played that out any better, right?
Jack Caglione takes a strike. Jack Caglione's bobblehead comes with a removable bat.
Take the bat right out of his hands.
See, now he can't.
Now
not so tough
that's what
now,
we're talking
are you?
about, yeah.
Not so tough now, are you?
I'm keeping this one for me. The Mandalorian. We'll toss the Caglione one out the window here. Somebody will want it.
Caglione went 1 for 8 in the series in Cleveland. Manzo, he'll be ready to pinch hit at some point tonight. Caglione has picked up the pace, though. He's hit in 13 of his last 18 ball games. And he lays off a high pitch, 3-1. Caglione and Cleveland's Travis Bazzana, part of the same draft class. The 3-1. Full count. I have a feeling that there are a number of guys from that draft class that will be inextricably linked throughout their careers, because there's some good ones. We talked about it the other day. So many already in the big leagues, and that was 2 years ago.
I believe 10 of the first 20 picks are currently in the big leagues.
Bounced it in there on the 3-2 offering. First base runner for the Royals. Now Travis Bazzana 1-1. Then Chase Burns of the Reds. Nick Kurtz, Big Amish, of course. Caglione. J.J. Weatherholt, we saw him in Cincinnati.
We did.
We'll see Connor Griffin this summer. Christian Moore.
Don't sleep on Christian Moore either.
I did. I slept on him.
He's a pretty good young player.
Isaac Cullen, switch hitter. And then it takes a strike. Collins has hit in 4 straight. Once the pitcher is about to deliver, Collins loads those hands up. But prior to that, he's got him in that low position. Don't see a lot of hitters do that, where he starts him out down low. Swing and and a miss. Bobby struck him out on 3 pitches. His second K, 1 down here in the 3rd.
We've done a lot of talking about changeups tonight. That'll do it. That's perfect execution. Doesn't matter what your swing likes. Looks like when that pitch is down below the strike zone like that, Tanner's got it working tonight.
Nick Lofton with 1 on and 1 out. Snap throw to first, and it's close. But Caglione did get back in time.
Well, he certainly got a bigger lead that time than any pitch before. Bo decided to take a chance.
Guardians took a long look on the replay, but no challenge issued. It looked like he got back in time.
He wanted to channel his inner Austin Hedges.
Great job by Rhys Hoskins blocking the base.
Yes, sir.
And that was really
very
close.
And his fingers at the very end there kind of got
He got jammed,
flipped up a little bit. Yeah.
That didn't feel good. Swing and a miss, and the count is 1-2 on Nick Lofton.
Again, the difference between that back pick and the one we saw Austin Hedges do just a couple of days ago in Sacramento is a right-handed and a left-handed bat. This right-handed batter in this particular case, it's an open lane towards first base. A little easier throw to execute, but obviously their batter runner can see it pretty easily.
Slow breaking ball hit to Rocchio. They get one there. Bazzana on the turn, not quite in time. Lofton beats it out.
Well, here's the turn. This ball was hit slow. Good job by Brian Rocchio to get it out quick. Bazzana with a nice feed. And turn there just a hair behind the runner.
So 2 down. Turn it over to the top of the order, and Michael Garcia. He's in the leadoff spot for the 32nd time this year. And a first pitch strike. Nick Lofton able to just get back in time.
Certainly was close. Been a few really close ones tonight.
And, you know, as Tony Arnrich was talking about it the other day, the back pick, the throw over from the pitcher, the step off, you know, when you can disengage and you've got that at your disposal. If you make that guy shorten up by a half a step, say, or maybe a full step, that could be the difference in throwing him out at third base and him being safe at third base. So all those little things, they aren't necessarily designed to pick him off,
right,
but just make sure he's aware so he can't get a running lead on you. We've played 3, 2-0 Cleveland.
Designed with NICU nurses.
2-0 Guardians on top as we move to the 4th inning. And leading off is Jose Ramirez taking, and that's ball 1. Jose fly to center his first time up. You know, you look at early season trends like Kansas City, you know, the new dimensions here at the ballpark, subtle, but So far, a little more offense, a little more power shown. Jose Ramirez has walked 24 times. He's on pace for a career-high 111 walks.
Wow.
But will that play out? Will that trend continue? Will he allow that trend to continue?
That, to me, is the question.
He's an aggressive hitter.
He certainly is.
He's up there swinging.
I don't, unfortunately, think that's up to him. If you ask me, I think that's up to the rest of his teammates. If they continue to hit well, he's probably going to get pitched to a little bit more. But if you have the guys around him struggling a little bit.
That's the double-edged sword, though,
Right.
because if they're struggling, he's going to expand his strike zone.
No doubt.
Just because he's going to feel like I have
to do it.
Yeah. The 3-2 popped him up. Shortstop Bobby Witt looks at Miguel Garcia. You take it. He does. 1 down. And a word here from Cleveland Clinic.
When you make complexities your specialties, you redefine what's possible. For every care in the world, Cleveland Clinic.
Now Rhys Hoskins with 1 out here, 4th inning. He tried to jump on one and just missed it. High in the air, left field near the line. 2 down. Those are the ones where you head back to the dugout going, oh my goodness. I mean, he was on it. He had the pitch he wanted. He had the swing he wanted and just got under it a little bit.
Unfortunately, I know that feeling all too well. That was a good pitch to hit, a little spinning slider. Pitch he could get extended on, just was a tad underneath it.
Here is Travis Pizzana, single to right, first time up. Now he's going to left, and a running sliding catch by Isaac Collins to retire the side. Since the 2-run homer by David Fry, Michael Walkup has retired 8 straight. 2-0 Guardians on top, bottom of the 4th, and Bobby Witt Jr. will lead it off for the Royals. Witt called out on strikes. He challenged and lost in the 1st inning. Bobby's pitch on the plate a little low. You know, we talk about tunneling, pitcher's ability to throw a pitch from the same arm slot so that it delays the hitter just a split second trying to pick up what it is. Is it a changeup? Is it a curveball? Is it just a 4-seam fastball? Maybe it's a slide. What we don't talk enough about is sequencing. So now you're going through the lineup for the 2nd time around. You as the catcher, you're Bo Naylor. You're cataloging, right? Each time you face a hitter. We started them off with a fastball, then we went changeup, maybe back with another fastball in, then a breaking ball away, right? So then when he comes around the 2nd time, you have to remember because you can't fall into a predictable pattern.
You cannot. There are a few guys in the league that you can go ahead and, hey, we feel extremely confident. Maybe it's a certain pitch in a certain location.
That's swatted high and deep and gone. Home run number 3 on the year for Bobby Witt Jr. And that's the first hit given up by Tanner Bybee. A no-doubter.
You don't see too many of them go over the visiting bullpen in that area. Bobby Witt did not miss this pitch. Again, a breaking ball, little spinning slider that stayed up in the strike zone. Those ones usually do have a tendency to go a long way, and unfortunately in a hitter's count, that's a tough spot to miss.
And of course, everything that we were just talking about is still always predicated on the pitcher executing. Because if you don't execute, you get the best plan in the world, and there's a ball launched deep right center field, off the wall, played well by Schneemann. His throw to second base is not in time. The call is safe. Pasquantino had to really hustle and avoid the tag of Rocchio.
Again, another fastball up. Vinny Pasquantino was not waiting around, and this ball was just a few feet from being a home run itself. Daniel Steven did a great job of playing this off the wall. Nice reach around tag right there too of the base by Vinny Pasquantino.
I like the left-hand jab of Rocchio right on the chin. Obviously not intentional, but Pasquantino is in there with a double. So the Royals' second time through the order. Still an aggressive approach. We saw that first time through. But Tanner with a hanging slider was hit out of the ballpark, and Pasquantino just bum rushed him on the fastball.
Well, you can see Vinny get his left hand in there and just barely hang on. Again, that's a tough spot for Brian Rocchio on the tag. You can't get caught trying to push that hand off.
And as big and burly as Pasquantino is, it was nice to see him get up and, kind of just pat Rocchio. I know you didn't do that on purpose. If you did, you wouldn't be standing here anymore.
I'm not saying one of those guys would win that fight, but one of those guys might win that fight.
Off the end of the bat foul. Pasquantino, they call him the Pasquatch.
Well, he is certainly a large individual.
He gives the Royals a real power threat in the middle of that order. I think more than anything, the way Matt Quatrero sandwiches him in between Bobby Witt and Salvi Perez, that's a really good 2-3-4.
It really is, and you're going to get some platoon advantages no matter which way you shake it out like that. Somebody's going to get to see the opposing side pitching.
Bobby's 1-2. Back to the netting. Perez, who's never had a hit off Bybee. With each foul ball, though, probably feels like he's getting a little closer to figuring him out. This Rubik's Cube of a pitcher who has held him to 0 for 20 thus far. Right back up the middle. Bazana had it go through the wickets, and the Royals tie the game.
I don't know if that ball didn't hit the base. It was certainly close. It looked like it surprised Bazana just a little bit. I think that ball hit the base. Yes, it did.
And error charged to Bazana and allows Kansas City to tie it up. And now Carter Jensen. Curveball in there for a strike.
That's a tough one too. Your eyes are telling you that ball's going to hop up, hits the base, and just kind of stays low.
Hanging curve, ripped to right, down it goes into the corner, cut off by Angel. He'll hold Jensen to a long single. All the way to third goes Salvador Perez. 3 hits in the inning for Kansas City.
They're back to being very aggressive on Tanner Bybee. This was a breaking ball that did get to the bottom part of the zone. He tried to double up on that pitch. Jensen was waiting for it.
Carter Jensen snaps an 0 for 17 slump with that base hit. And the official score is now making up rules, saying that since the ball hit the bag on the previous ground ball by Salvador Perez, he is now awarded a single.
That one is going to get looked at, to say the least. You can see it pops up.
Dumbest scoring decision I think I've ever heard of.
Hits that front corner, yeah. I don't really see how that could be a hit. I'm all in favor of hometown scorekeepers. But my guess is that one at least gets turned into the league.
Hitter and error, it's still a problem for Tanner Bybee because 4 straight have reached, 2 are in, nobody out, 4th inning. And the Royals are frothing at the mouth as Lane Thomas digs in. Swing and a miss.
If you're Tanner right here, you're trying to execute something down and away from Lane Thomas. Hopefully he puts the ball on the ground. Take a double play right here for the run all day.
Swung on and fouled by Lane Thomas. Tanner Bybee, I think he just found himself in a position he's not used to. Entering tonight, he had pitched all of 2/3 of one inning with a lead. Right back. That equates to 28 pitches. 28 pitches he had thrown prior to tonight with a lead
on the year. Wow.
Down low, he lays off. And this is the kind of inning that we were talking about earlier, where if it snowballs and all of a sudden you're throwing 20, 25, all of a sudden you make a 30-pitch inning, that can short circuit your night. He needs an out in the worst possible way. He has Thomas down in the count. And it's 2-2.
Close, he tried a little backdoor two-seamer. You can see that thing, perfect pitch. Just didn't quite get back to that corner there. Again, another really close pitch.
It's amazing to me that they can take some of these pitches with 2 strikes. So much for if it's close, you better swing.
I think it's more of what you've said before. I can't hit it anyway, so I might as well take it. Hope for the best.
3-2. And after all of that, he walks him, and they're loaded. Had him buried in the count and never really challenged him.
Well, now he's forced to challenge Jack Caglione here. Again, you will trade a run for an out in this situation. Looking for something to get him to put the ball on the ground. Corners are in.
He left nothing to the imagination with that swing. Caglione was trying to put a 4-pointer on the board.
You know what's on his mind right now.
Infield is in.
And this is a young hitter. You hope you can take advantage of that.
Change up. And he took it for a called strike 0-2.
That pitch right there sets up the rest of this at bat. He's got so many options now for a swing and miss pitch. Another close pitch. See if you can get a young hitter to expand in off the strike zone. You can go breaking ball off that. You got a change up off of that. Got to think strike to ball here.
2-2.
And this is one of those situations with the bases loaded. As a catcher, you're sitting there. If you throw it 2-2, you probably better throw it 3-2 in this particular case.
Oh, he rung him up on a changeup. Caglione never took the bat off his shoulder.
He had him set up for it. I mentioned it on the 0-2 count. He chose to go breaking ball down below the strike zone. We're going to go pitch by pitch here. Great job executing the breaking ball and then the changeup right off it. There's your tunnel. Then he tries to front hip him. Another breaking ball below the strike zone, and off that same arm slot, that changeup that fades front door.
Isaac Collins struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. That's the pitch he struck him out with first time up. He starts him off with it here. You just repeat the sequence in reverse.
I think you got to feel how you feel of him standing in that batter's box. So much of game calling is, yes, you have a plan going into it, but sometimes that batter steps in there and he digs in. He may make that slight adjustment. He may be a little bit further back or a little bit closer to the plate. And if you're paying attention like any good catcher should, the first thing you look at is where his foot is in that batter's box.
A tell.
A tell.
Out away. And it's 1-2. So he has been aggressive on the off-speed pitches that he has seen.
Really, the only hit Tanner's given up on a fastball has been that Vinny Pasquantino double off the wall. They're attacking the soft stuff for sure.
Swing and a miss. Back to the changeup once again. Back-to-back strikeouts for Bybee, and now a chance to get out of this.
This is a perfect changeup. Look at the fade across the plate right there. That looks like a fastball the entire way. And now if you're Tanner Bybee, you're potentially 1 pitch away from getting yourself out of a big jam, but you have to continue to attack right here. You can't let up, knowing, taking a deep breath, you just got that second out and you're this close.
He went with the fastball, missed away. Bo did well to hang on to that low heater. Nowhere to put him. He's got to go at him here 2-0.
With how good he's been controlling his changeup, I wouldn't think twice about throwing that pitch right now.
Bobby wants a new baseball.
He doesn't have to be perfect with it. He just needs to throw this one for a strike.
Right at him with the fastball. And Lofton back on his heels, taking all the way. It's 2-1.
That was the sinker, though. The 2 4-seamers he threw right off of that, the first 2 pitches, he pulled both of them. That's a good choice of pitch selection, too, of trying to stay inside that ball.
2-1. Hit in the hole. The go-ahead run scores. Here comes Jensen. Throw to the plate in time. They got him. That should end the inning. We'll see if the Royals challenge. They have the lead regardless. The only question now is, will the inning continue, or is it, in fact, over? Great throw by Stephen Kwan. Kansas City challenging. They felt Jensen's foot touched the plate before the tag.
Kansas City is challenging the out call at home plate.
The first look on the replay board, the Kansas City crowd didn't give it much of a reaction, so I don't think they're even convinced. But this will be broken down frame by frame before we have an answer. Remember, the call in the field's out.
And that's big in this situation. I don't know if his foot actually, depending, you can't really see where the glove is, though, there.
I think what Vic Carapazza probably could not see is that Bo did not tag him initially.
Yeah.
I think he's safe.
I think he's going to be safe, too. Regardless, really good throw there by Stephen Kwan.
After review, the call in the field is overturned. The runner is safe. Kansas City retains their challenge.
So a 4-run 4th inning for Kansas City, and now the 9th man to bat will be Michael Garcia. As the Guardians bullpen heats up, a long inning for Tanner Bybee.
He got himself the ground ball he needed, but just found, the one hole there between short and third base. Very frustrating nonetheless for Tanner.
Michael Garcia 0 for 2 is grounded out fly to center.
You can see here pitches by inning, 36 here in the fourth inning. A lot of stress, a lot of workload. This might be the most difficult thing for a pitcher. You've already had a long inning. You think you get yourself out of it, the emotional roller coaster of the inning. You sit through a replay. Now you have to lock it back in against the top part of the lineup.
This has got to be the last hitter of the inning. He either gets Garcia, and even then, I don't know if he'll continue. Tanner Bybee had mastered the Kansas City Royals prior to this inning. Complete dominance of the Royals in this ballpark. Bybee 4-0 in 9 career starts against Kansas City. The Guardians 7-2 in those 9 starts.
Now the runner will be off.
I tell you what, this is trouble. Long run for Quan. He's there, and he will make the catch. 9 men come to the plate, and the Royals put up 4 to take the lead.
Have you eaten yet?
Well, it's 4-2 Kansas City. David Fry going to lead it off for the Guardians. He hit a 2-run homer in the second inning. With more on Fry, downstairs to Kaylee Griffin.
Well, Matt, in Game 2 in Sacramento, David Fry hit that solo home run in the 6th. Today we see him get that good swing early on here. He said after that game Saturday that he's just trying to find ways to be on time, to get on base, and just wants to keep this offense rolling. That started to find a bit of a rhythm over the last few days. Stephen Vogt's been pretty vocal that he wants to try and get Fry as many consistent at-bats as he can, but also that finding him those opportunities is sometimes challenging with the makeup of this roster. But in that same breath, he said when Fry is going and he's in rhythm, he's a guy that can really get us rolling.
We saw that with one swing of the bat in that second inning. And there's a big chopper up the gut. Lofton from the outfield grass. Strong throw on the money. 1 down. Well, Kaylee, I tell you what's of more concern right now for Stephen Vogt and company is the fact that Tanner Bybee just chucked 39 pitches in that top half of the 4th inning. The most he's ever thrown in his career was 44 in a game 2 years ago. What's the state of the bullpen the rest of the way tonight?
Yeah, Matt, that was one of the biggest questions I had for Vogt earlier today because the bullpen was taxed quite a bit in Sacramento. They covered 45% of the innings over the weekend. He said, yeah, we're running hot. Most everybody is going to be available for today, but we've got a lot of innings out there. We threw a lot of pitches over the weekend, and it's hard because we're in the middle of a 13-in-a-row stretch, and anytime you go to a place like Sacramento, those things can kind of happen, but he said we do have enough to get through tonight's game, so we'll see how it progresses tonight and through the rest of the 4 days.
That's amazing. I feel like they just finished a stretch of 13 games in 13 days, and here we are right back
in the middle of it. Yep. Again, we're about to see what a few of these guys are made of out there.
3-0 count. Angel Martinez takes ball 4, and this is important for the offense. Not that you want to answer right back immediately or come right back and tie it, but just something to break the momentum up because Walker had retired 9 in a row before that walk to Angel Martinez. You don't want to let the veteran settle in and feel like he's got it on cruise control. Easier said than done, I know.
For sure. You just want to make sure that you're not throwing your defense in a tough spot as well. I mean, it's most likely about to be the bullpen for the rest of the game from here on out. But you want to make sure you give those guys a chance to sit down and get a drink.
Bo Naylor grounded out his first time up. And a high pop-up on the infield. The second baseman Lofton. 2 down. Let's get a word now from Echo.
It's time to go yard. Echo, power on and on.
Now Brian Rocchio fly to center his only time up in the third. Rocchio a hit in 14 of his last 18 games. One ball and one strike.
It's a big at-bat for a lot of reasons, right? For Brian Rocchio in particular, you don't need to get them all back in one swing right here. Home run in this scenario is probably going to come by an accident. You put just a good swing on a ball that's up in the strike zone. Your thought process right here is to continue to keep the line moving.
Walker, the veteran, has done a nice job of, slide stepping, varying his delivery time to home plate. Initially, I thought, well, this would be a good opportunity maybe for Angel Martinez to maybe steal a base, even down 2. Rocchio couldn't check his swing. He strikes out. And the inning is over. We're halfway through. 4-2, Kansas City.
Let's all play ball. Don't miss Play Ball Weekend, coming up on June 5th through the 7th, encouraging youth everywhere to get out and play. You can visit playball.org to register for a free event near you.
One of the most jarring momentum shifts you'll see in a baseball game occurred tonight. Tanner Bybee cruised through the first 3 innings. Did not allow a hit. He walked the batter and struck out 2, but he was literally just dealing along. And then in the 4th inning, he needed 39 pitches to get through it. First 5 reached for Kansas City. First time that's happened this year for the Royals. And they scored 4 runs, and they chased Bybee out of the ballgame. So Matt Festa is in now. Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen for Festa.
Well, he's done a good job so far this year. This is one of those guys in the back end of your pen that you know will take the ball every day. He's stranded a ton of inherited runners, which is a beautiful thing.
What happened to him? What did you see from Bybee? How do you go from just free wheeling, dealing, and then all of a sudden buzzsaw? There was one play defensively that
changed
should
the
have been
complexity
made.
of the inning.
Yeah.
And aside from really the first 3 balls that were hit of the inning, Tanner did a good job. He had to battle. He made some pitches. You got the ball up the middle that skips off the base. It goes underneath Mazana's glove. You got the ball just to the left of Jose diving in between, Jose and Rocchio at short. He made some pitches when he had to. It just seems like when you're kind of in that rut. That is exactly right.
Sometimes you try to figure it out. There's no other explanation.
There's really no explanation.
you think about it too, you know, Vinny Pasquantino had the double off the wall. Schneemann fields it perfectly, comes up, perfect throw to second base. Pasquantino just barely gets his hand in there.
And he's out looking here. Started with a hanging slider. Bobby Witt didn't miss it.
He certainly did not. He got every bit of this as it went over the bullpen. This is the one, though, that was the dagger. The air there, second base, and just out of the reach of Jose.
This might stay in play. Rhys Hoskins to the railing, couldn't get there. Even if he had been there in time, he'd have had to lean in quite a ways to get there. No balls and a strike for Salvador Perez. Shallow right. Angel races in. Still racing. He's there and makes the catch. Royals go in order. And we head to the sixth, 4-2 Kansas City.
This is up to 100% longer lasting.
Cleveland Guardians Baseball is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. Well, it's 4-2 Kansas City, sixth inning. Strange feeling to this game because on one hand, you're only down 2 runs.
There you go.
But that inning was so painful that it feels like it's 40-2.
You are a bloop and a blast away with the top part of your lineup now.
The other part of it, to be fair, is they have 2 hits.
That is true.
And, you know, it was a bloop and a blast. Bazzana and Fry, they got the Guardians on the board in the second. That's been it. So they need to find a way to solve Michael Wacha because he's only made 52 pitches. You talk about making it easy. This guy had given up 10 runs in his last 10 innings in his previous 2 starts. But as I said before, we have never seen that Michael Wacha.
We don't normally get that one. We get this one, unfortunately.
Quan trying to fight it off into left field. Routine play for Collins, one away. Injury report brought to you by the injury attorneys at Elk and Elk. Well, this was big news that reverberated around Major League Baseball. Tarek Skubal, one of the best in the business. He'll need arthroscopic surgery to remove what we used to call bone chips from his elbow. And he felt like when he met with the media, he didn't have a timetable, but if everything goes well, he does not anticipate this being a lengthy process. But you're still talking about probably minimum 2 months. Minimum.
At least, yeah, at least, because now you got the build-up process again for a starter and somebody of his ilk. You're not going to rush back, no matter what the situation is. But team,
if they can get him back after the All-Star break, I think they'll take that.
I would say that's probably the most likely scenario. That's if everything goes
well,
okay.
Yeah. Well, here's Jose Ramirez 0 for 2.
But needless to say, that is certainly a massive loss for the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, because he's the kind of guy, I'm pretty sure, that every time he takes the ball, that club shows up thinking, we're going to win.
Oh, you know you're going to win. I think, too, more importantly, that's maybe gives a little extra juice to some other people in the American League. Because you would imagine he's out of the Cy Young Award competition at this point.
Well, just look at the Central Division alone. Entering play tonight. Now, granted, we're 30. This is game 36. 3 games separates first and last place in the division. Back to the netting. Jensen can't get to it. It's literally 2 rows back. But you know, Cleveland and Detroit began the night 18-17, tied for the top spot, and Minnesota is bringing up the rear, but they're only 3 games out. So
3 games out, but they just lost their ace yesterday as well to an elbow issue. And Joe Ryan leaving the start after just 9 pitches.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Michael Wacha continues his mastery. And we head to the bottom of the 6th, 4-2 Kansas City. Mom's got her hands full.
I'll say.
She's losing. Carter Jensen leads off for Kansas City here, bottom of the 6th. Singleton scored his last time up. That snapped an 0 for 17 slump. Matt Festa worked a 1-2-3 5th inning. Try to squeeze another inning out of the right-hander. These are the kinds of innings that no one takes a great deal of notice during the season, but they add up over the course of a year. If Matt Festa can give you 2 innings tonight, that's 2 less innings you have to cover with the rest of your bullpen.
It's massive, I'll tell you that much. And he doesn't get enough credit because these types of guys, to your point, don't really get talked about a lot. But this game is no way, shape, or form out of it. You know, the Guardians are not out of this game, so you can't throw your lower leverage guys in. You have to be very fine with how you navigate this. And if he can give you 2 innings, and the reason he's back out here for this second one, because he was very efficient in the first inning, that would be huge.
As we said, you're in the stretch of 13 games and 13 days. And so every time you go to that bullpen an inning or 2 innings earlier than anticipated, those innings add up. How do you disperse them equitably so that you're not burning somebody up to where, okay, we lost this guy now for the next 2 or 3 days?
And that's the hard part. Like Kaylee said, this bullpen was taxed a little bit in Sacramento. You had some of those guys that are maybe able to give you a little bit more length, had to throw a significant amount there.
Jensen a fly ball to left, and Stephen Kwan takes care of that, 1 down.
Well, while we have a second here, I need to wish a very happy birthday to my beautiful wife, Kelly, and her twin brother, Kevin, who's 13 minutes younger than her. Kevin's 43, Kelly's only 25. You tell me how that works out, but the math works. But I wanted to make sure I wished a very happy birthday to my wife and brother-in-law.
Well done, a happy birthday. And I know it's a mother's work is never done, and especially when she's juggling multiple adolescents at home and you're hanging around with me.
Yeah.
1-0 pitch.
And wow, really close.
Even Matt Festa on there.
Yeah.
Hey, Paisan, Matt Festa de Carapazza.
I was waiting for that one.
I got a cappuccino maker. I'm okay to share a little bit. Three balls, no strikes for Lane Thomas, who walked in the 4th. And while he has not swung the bat well, he has shown a very good eye at the plate this year. And how do you like that? On a 3-0 pitch, he fouls out weakly to third base. Now that's one where you got to go back to the dugout, and there's no mirror in the dugout, but you got to look at yourself and say, what are you doing?
And I mean, that pitch just rode up and in on Lane Thomas as well. Now, that was the I already made up my mind. I'm swinging at this pitch because I know I'm getting a heater. And it started off on that plane that you wanted to see it, but boy, it did not end there.
Jack Caglione, swing and a miss. Caglione was back on his heels in his last at bat. That was a puzzler. Bases loaded, nobody out. You talk about in the driver's seat. He fouled the first pitch off and then never swung, and ended up taking a called third strike.
To me, that's just a young player that still hasn't really learned how he's going to be attacked in situations like that. As he continues to get more and more experience, you'll probably see you know, some different swing decisions, some different take decisions in an at-bat in the future.
Well, he didn't mess around this time. My goodness, that guy's got some kind of power. Fourth home run of the year for Caglione. It's 5-2 Kansas City.
That's now 2 Kansas City homers that have gone over each bullpen. And I know they've moved the fences in, but they didn't move the bullpens back. Both of those have been absolute moonshots. Just a little higher there if you're Matt Festa. Again, you're in the advantage. A little too close for comfort there, and he paid for it.
Again, how you do that to a fellow Paisan?
Teammates. Some teammate, huh?
Yeah. Caglione and Pasquantino have their own special home run celebration. And they do the Italian kiss on the cheek.
Unfortunately, I've had to witness it tonight.
Matt Festa has another Italian gesture.
Yeah, no kidding.
There's a strike called. It's 2-1. Isaac Collins has struck out twice tonight. That was against Tanner Bybee. And his filthy changeup.
Well, you see Matt Festa taking his time. Just gave up the home run. Now he's got himself in a 3-1 count, knowing he has to come with a strike here.
There you go.
Here it is.
Caglione doesn't look quite as into it as Pasquantino. So that's going to be it for Matt Festa. Couldn't get the third out here in the 6th. So we've got a timeout for a pitching change with our score now. Kansas City 5, Cleveland 2.
Dessert.
Sorry, Chef.
What's in your wallet?
Monday in the driver's seat. Well, if you're going to win the division, it helps to win in the division. And the Guardians have done very well. Very well.
If you're better than the Dodgers at anything, you've done something right.
Yeah, they won 2 out of 3 against Matt Quattro's bunch in Cleveland earlier this year, but this is the start of a 4-game set. And then we will go home and face the Minnesota Twins over the weekend.
Well, very difficult to win a 4-game series in its own right. To win one on the road is even more impressive.
This is the 4th Guardians game against a Central Division opponent and the 14th for Kansas City. So just kind of a strange disparity in terms of the schedule. And this is the beginning of a 10-game all Central Division homestand for the Royals. And then they will have 6 more games against Central Division opponents, 6 through the All-Star break. That's it. Left field near the line, Kwan makes the catch. We're going to the 7th inning. It's now Kansas City 5, Cleveland 2. Guardians have just 2 hits tonight. Offense needs to get rolling. It has been a tale of 2 extremes tonight here in Kansas City. Tanner Bybee for Cleveland had a 4th inning in which only one time in his career has he thrown more pitches in an inning than he did in that 39-pitch 4th inning in which Kansas City batted around and scored 4 times. At the other end of the spectrum is Michael Wacha. 60 pitches through 6 innings is tied for the fewest number of pitches through 6 innings in his career, and that was back in 2017. So you're talking almost a decade ago was the last time he went 6 innings on only 60 pitches.
12 of those 19 outs on 3 pitches or fewer. You hear Carl Willis talk about that. You want to be able to go deep into a ball game. You have to attack the strike zone, but you have to get hitters to put the ball in play in 3 pitches or less. And Michael Wacha has done that in spades tonight.
And you pointed it out. I'm sure Stephen Vogt was feeling at least pretty good about the decision he made, having both Rhys Hoskins and David Fry right-handed bats in the lineup against Waka. Fry responded with a big 2-run home run to give Cleveland the lead in the second inning. But since Fry's home run, the Guardians do not have a hit in this game.
They have hit some balls hard. David Fry last at bat, Travis Pisana last at bat. And that's why they say hitting's fun. You hit the ball hard does not guarantee you a hit.
Pisana slicing one, just fouled on the left side. What did Stephen Vogt say before the game? He said, I don't miss getting hits. I miss trying to hit.
That's true.
Or
no, he doesn't miss trying to hit.
Yeah.
He missed getting hits.
Yeah. It's not only is it the physical, but the mental grind of facing great pitchers, unbelievable relievers.
Especially in today's game. The relievers are just,
you finally get a pitch so you can handle, you square it up, you do everything right, and then you're walking back to the dugout because you hit it right at somebody, or a guy made a 5-star defensive play.
I can't even begin to describe how frustrating that is, too.
Pisana pops it to left, and Collins has that 2 down. This was it. Back in the second. It was 2-0 Cleveland after that big swing by David Fry.
Well, we saw Tanner Bybee throw a hanging breaking ball and saw what happened to that. Michael Waka also found out what happens when you throw a hanger to a good major league hitter.
That curveball is in there for strike 1.
It's hard to believe, though, David Fry's last 3 hits have all been home runs. It's a pretty good streak to be on.
You see Waka, he has a pitch comm device on his belt. How often he's calling pitches tonight. He's kind of letting Carter Jensen call the game for him. Now Fry punches one into left center field, and the Guardians get just their 3rd hit of the night, their first since Fry's home run in the second inning. Angel Martinez coming up. Downstairs we go to Kaylee.
Matt, they could use a little magic from Angel right now. I asked him earlier about his confidence at the plate, and he said it's always been there. My confidence has always been so high. I just bet on myself. I'm not surprised because of the work I've been doing. So I asked, what does that work look like? And he told me it's more of an understanding of how the game works, being a little more focused on the little details and understanding what he wants to do and not just go out there for big swings, which understandably is sometimes what younger hitters just try and go and do.
No, you could use one of those right here. I'm not going to lie.
Take a single, too.
You can have your single. Go big fly, big fella.
I hear you. I absolutely hear you. But that's great to hear at Angel. I mean, that's part of the maturation process of, getting out of that younger phase and into a little bit more veteran type phase.
Popped up foul, left side, and it's out of play. 2 doubles, 3 homers, 7 knocked in his previous 10 games heading into tonight. We told you earlier, he had a monster series against Kansas City back in Cleveland. He went 6 for 8 with a grand slam.
It just shows you what he can do. Now it's taking those beautiful spurts like he had last time against Kansas City and trying to lengthen those out a little bit. Maybe learn how to take your single when an infield's, playing in an overshift, and pick and choose your spots when, you get yourself in a good count. Okay, I'm going to try to drive a ball in the gap right here. It's a lot of what we've seen Brian Rocchio do to this point.
Martinez rips it down the right field line. That's headed for the corner. Fry off to the races. He's into third base. Ruggiodor has to hold him there as the throw came into the cutoff man, Pasquantino. But the Guardians at least have themselves an opportunity with 2 outs to cut into the lead. Now, interestingly enough, before he made that pitch, Waka called that one himself. He went to the belt, he pushed in the buttons.
Went to a cutter, and he did not get this pitch where he wanted to. This ball stayed middle, up above the strike zone. And Angel, being really short to the baseball, was able to keep the barrel behind it and smoke something down at the line.
Ryan Sweeney makes his first trip to the mound tonight. That'll give the Kansas City bullpen time to activate. He is still south of 80 pitches, but he began this inning with 60 pitches on the night, so they've at least made him work for the first time in the ballgame here in this 7th inning.
You see how short Angel was to that baseball. Nice easy stride forward into the ball, but that hand direction so short and direct through that baseball, smoked it down in the corner.
Now it's up to Bo Naylor.
Well, this would certainly be a big spot and be a potential season changer for you at the plate if you were to find something on a barrel here at least.
And that's the way it's gone for Bo Naylor. Hit it on the nose, into the mitt, and past Quintino. 2 more stranded here for Cleveland, and they trail 5-2. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cleveland Guardians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Guardians. Now Michael Wacha gave his team 7 innings of work. They keep that streak alive, where their starters have gone at least 5 in their last 13 ball games. Waka was just effortless through 6, and only with 2 outs did the Guardians threaten. He gets the 3rd out of the inning, and so he'll turn it over to the bullpen the rest of the way. Maybe that's good news for Cleveland, because they had no answer for Waka after the fry homer in the 2nd inning. Top of the order for Kansas City here in the 7th. Connor Brogdon staying on the pitch. Michael Garcia 0 for 3. By Brogdon, Bazana flips it over. 1 down. And a word now from Levin Furniture and Mattress.
Sink into unbeatable comfort with Lazy Boy recliners, starting at just $395. Nobody sells Lazy Boy for less than Levin.
There is Bobby Witt. He hit the Royals' first home run of the night, leading off the 4th inning. Caglione added a monster shot in the 6th. Vinny Pasquantino hit one off the top of the wall in right field in the 4th inning. Where Kansas City made their modifications to the ballpark are most notable in left and right field, where they brought the fences in right there in front of the bullpen. They brought those fences in about 9 to 10 feet. So that's where you're going to see, as this season goes on, that's where you're going to see probably the impact of the flight of the home run ball. Down the corner, that fence used to belly out a little bit more extreme. Now it kind of cuts straight across. So
actually see
where
they kind of jetted it out.
If you look closely, you can kind of tell where they made those alterations, and they dropped the fence down. The height of the fence almost 2 feet, not quite, about 1.5 feet.
That's a good shot of it right there.
But you see over the dual part, that's
right.
The back part, the back green part, that's where the original wall was. That was the original wall. So now you can see it's come in from that, and it's dropped down. So more home runs so far per game than they've seen here in quite some time. Rocchio, quick release, threw it high. And that's what Bobby Witt's speed does. He speeds you up as a defender.
Well, that's putting pressure on the defense right there. That's what a good hard 90, and yes, of course, that speed will do for you. Ryan Rocchio got his feet underneath him. You can see Bobby Witt out of the box. I mean, it is from 0 to 100 right away.
elite speed, one of the fastest base runners in Major League Baseball right there at first base.
Ball gets away, and down to second goes Witt. That'll be a wild pitch. But this is now, Chris, the 17th home game of the year, and the Royals have hit 20 home runs as a team in their 17 home games. So,
I don't see a way this does not benefit them in the long run.
But I think, and we've seen some more, shall we say, extreme overcorrections, like in Baltimore. I don't think they've overcorrected to the point where it's going to make a mockery of the previous seasons in this ballpark, though, either. It's going to still play pretty true, but
especially to the middle part of the field. That's still a really good poke to get the ball out to center, you know, just off of center, left center, right center. You got to get into a ball to get it out over there. Here goes Witt.
He's off and running, and he's got that one stolen. Bo had a little trouble getting the handle. 11th stolen base of the year for Witt.
Well, the high leg kick from Brogdon did not help the situation. Bo did make a good throw. That's so difficult at times as a catcher. You can see out of peripheral vision, you know the guy's going, and you try to speed yourself up. It's so imperative to continue to go through that routine and just make a good, crisp throw.
Infield in, and Pasquantino jars one foul. Not a lot of fun if you're Rhys Hoskins or Travis Bazzana on the right side. Ripped over the head of Bazzana. If he was 10 feet tall, he couldn't have snagged that one. And Pasquantino has his second hit of the game and another run home for the Royals. This one fairly gifted.
Well, the infield being in was the reason this was a hit. You can see Bazzana gave it a heck of an effort. But I think Matty was right. You could have been 10 foot tall and probably not gotten to that one.
If he was back, he was playing normal position, he might have had a shot, maybe. But the wild pitch and the stolen base certainly set it up. And that's what Kansas City can do. When they have the lead, they've got the kind of guys that will keep the pressure on with their speed and with their aggressive nature. Now Sal Perez.
This is one thing this Kansas City team does provide on the base pass. They have no fear out there.
Perez.
That swing looked like he wanted to join the fun, huh?
Yes, it did. Runner goes. Oh, my goodness. Pasquantino takes off, and he's got a stolen base. Wow. That's his first of the year and maybe his only.
Well, that's off the pitcher. It's not off of Bo. That actually was a great throw by Bo. Good job by Vinny deciding, hey, they're not really paying attention to me over here. We do have somebody with a big leg kick. And again, that isn't necessarily the guy you expect to take off on you.
People around here didn't think trains ran after 8 p.m. local time. Knocked him back with a changeup that was fading down and in. Feel like you could roll it up there 3-1. He's still going to swing.
You know he doesn't want to be left out of the party, that's for sure.
Payoff pitch. High pop to right, and Angel Martinez makes the catch. 2 down. Well, if you want to kind of get an idea of the dimensions, so it's not crazy. As I said, they didn't overcorrect it by a gross amount. They feel like this will make it a little more hitter friendly, if you will. And according to StatCast data, if you factor distance, trajectory of batted balls, there would have been an average of 46 more home runs per year in this ballpark total.
That's amazing. I did hear Vinny Pasquantino talking about how excited he was before the season started here. Just knowing you don't have to absolutely get into a ball and flush it and pure a ball to get it out of here now. There's nothing more demoralizing than crushing a baseball and having a fielder run it down at the warning track in the power alley or center field. And again, center field, the dimensions did not change. But those gaps down the lines where most home runs are hit, it's nice as a hitter to know you don't have to, like I said, just absolutely get on one to get out of here.
We'd have to go back and look maybe a little closer. David Fry's home run ball, that was maybe a row or two deep.
It's probably off the base of the fence, maybe even caught last year.
But Witt and Caglianone's, those would have been hit out of any ballpark at any time.
30 out of 30.
Sorry, Chef.
What's in your mind?
Our Bet365 scores from around the league. Tigers drop one to the Red Sox at home by a run.
I believe the Mets have won 2 in a row.
Break them up.
Yeah. Sky is falling.
They have, at times, invented ways to lose this year. Matt Strahm, left-hander, on out of the Kansas City bullpen. And that pitch missed inside. Strahm facing Brian Rocchio, then the top of the order. 14th appearance of the year for the lefty. That was a big pitch for Strahm. He's given up an .083 batting average, and he's ahead in the count this year. And a topper to third. Easy play for Garcia. 1 down. Now Michael Wacha was Michael Wacha. This is the same guy we've seen every time he's pitched against Cleveland in his career. Only tonight, he was even better because he only needed 60 pitches to get through the first 6 innings. And allowed just 2 hits in all 4 of 2 runs on 4 hits. He gave up 2 hits through the first 6 innings and then had 2 outs in the 7th before he gave up a couple of knocks. But got the 3rd out to exit. 7 innings complete.
Well, if you saw, not one of those pitches that we just showed you was in the heart of the plate. He was on it tonight from pitch 1.
Long fly ball, deep right field. Caglianone back, and he makes the catch. Two away.
Well, that was good to see out of Stephen Kwan. He's been working on pulling the ball to the pull side in the air a little bit more. He certainly gave that one a ride. I think he needed the fence in about 10 more feet, though. We'd be in business.
Daniel Schneemann 0 for 3. Up the middle. And a diving stop by Bobby Witt. Yeah.
That kind of night.
Been the Royals' night. Well, our progressive defensive play of the game has to be this play right here by Bobby Witt.
You got a great first jump, or first step at least. Not only can you do it with the bat and on the bases, you can do it a little bit with a glove too. That's a perennial MVP candidate for you right there.
Yeah, the Guardians have not made much happen defensively tonight. Peyton Pallette is the new pitcher. He's got Lane Thomas, Jack Caglione, and Isaac Collins due up for the Royals. For Peyton, like so many young pitchers, there's no question about his arm, his stuff, what it does. The ability is all there. It's consistently finding the strike zone, working ahead. Too many counts like this, 2-0, 2-1. It either tilts the favor too much for the hitter.
I think part of it too for Peyton is you're not getting a consistent workload, so it is very difficult to manage when you maybe do a little side session in between, you know, those appearances. And now, you know, he's going back to back. He threw yesterday. He's thrown a few different times here in the last couple of days. It's a little easier to find your mechanics when you get that consistent routine and that consistent workload, but then, you know, he could go 10 days again without pitching.
Swing and a miss. Really nice off-speed pitch. Takes care of Lane Thomas for out number one.
Well, new Bottomless Bites tickets include a seat in the upper level, plus endless hot dogs, chips, popcorn, peanuts, and fountain sodas. Bottomless Bites tickets are only available for select games. Visit cleguardians.com/fan values and get your tickets today.
Jack Caglione with one out here in the 8th inning. If you're watching at home and you're saying, well, he looks like a big fella.
It's because he is.
You're not wrong.
The TV does not add 10 pounds in this case.
6'5", 250 is what they listed.
He's put together all right.
Big chopper to second base, and Bazan will throw him out. 2 down. And it brings up the guy at the other end of the spectrum, Isaac Collins. Checks in at 5'9". Collins was originally drafted by the Rockies back in 2019, 9th round pick. A couple years later, Milwaukee grabbed him in the minor league portion of the Rule 5 draft. Royals got him from the Brewers in exchange for Nick Mears and Angel Serpa last December.
I believe Serpa just got hurt and potentially needs Tommy John surgery as well.
Oof. Backed him up. There is hope. Now, this is very loose, but there is some loose hope that Collins could be, hate to compare, right? But this is their words, not mine. A Whit Merrifield type guy who got his start in the big leagues a little bit later than usual, and they really like the bat to ball skills.
Right.
They think there's a hitter in there, but could be a quote unquote late bloomer.
I certainly think that is well within, you know, his plan. maybe not as elite of a base runner, at least at this point in his career, that Whit Merrifield was. But the bat-to-ball skills are certainly there. The ability to play multiple positions is certainly there. We've seen him at left tonight, made a couple of nice plays out there.
130 games with the Brewers last year. Collins hit .263. And he's out looking. He'll challenge.
Kansas City batter challenging the strike call.
Based on what he did a year ago, I can see where J.J. Piccolo is looking at him and saying, hey, this could be a Whit Merrifield type guy for us down the road. He draws a walk after the call is overturned.
Again, I think, for the Royals, as the same is with us, you've got to be so aware of a young player's contractual status. He's under team control for a few more years. That's a very valuable asset to have.
Here is Nick Lofton taking a strike. Now Lofton, he's going to be the guy that's going to get, I would say, the lion's share of the reps at second base with Jonathan India. Lost to the season with shoulder surgery. Michael Massey is another guy that you'll see at second base. But certainly, the loss of India's it's a big one because of how much they count on his offense.
Initially, too, he was expected to kind of be that leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
And Michael Garcia has really taken to that role nicely. Had a career year last year for the Kansas City Royals. Got himself a nice deal in the offseason. And really, to be honest, hasn't skipped a beat.
Peyton Paulette, the 3-1 offering. Popped him up. He should get him out of the inning. Bo ditches the mask. And he has it. And we'll head to the ninth. Guardians down 4.
That's what makes Jack, Jack.
Join the Guardians for the 4th annual Asian American Pacific Islanders celebration, presented by Nestle on Tuesday, May 12th. Enjoy a night of educational and inclusive experiences celebrating all fans, including cultural performances, a community resource fair, giveaways, and more. Get your tickets at cleguardians.com/AAPI.
One-time Tiger Alex Lang on the pitch for Kansas City here, 9th inning. Royals lead by 4. Jose Ramirez leading off. He is 0 for 3 on the night. Cleveland had 2 hits in the second, a single and a home run by David Fry, and 2 hits with 2 outs in the 7th inning. That's been it. Jose hammers one to right field, and that will get down.
Well, that's how it starts. Right there. Get that leadoff man on. Continue to put pressure from an offensive standpoint. This ball's up and in. Jose does such a good job with that hip-shoulder separation, keeping those hands back, but allowing those hips to clear the way for that barrel to come through the strike zone.
Only time they've had their leadoff man aboard tonight. Now Rhys Hoskins 0 for 3. Down 4. It starts with getting your leadoff man aboard. It just gives you a little bit of life, a little bit of a spark. And you start thinking, if we could at least make them get somebody else up in the bullpen, and then maybe if we could at least make them bring one more guy into this game, and then you just keep stacking little momentum. You never know,
especially if that one more guy is their closer right now. That goes a long way in a 4-game series.
Hoskins a slow roller to third. There's 1 and 2.
And now we're back to getting the leadoff guy on again.
16,434 on this Monday night. And they are up on their feet with Travis Bazzana digging in 1 for 3 tonight. He tops it foul.
This is actually a really good at-bat right here for Travis Bazzana. He's going to get an opportunity. You know, a team that he's going to see a lot in his career here in the American League Central. Alex Lang's been around a little while with Detroit, now Kansas City. Get your first look at a division bullpen piece.
Bazzana down 0-2. A little topper. And the Royals take the opener. And Kansas City stays absolutely red hot. They've won 8 out of 10 ball games, and they have climbed to within 3 games of 500 at 16-19 on the year. Cleveland has dropped back-to-back games as they fall back to 500 at 18-18 on the season. Michael Walker, the winner, he goes to 3-2 on the season, and Tanner Bybee still looking for his first victory, falls to 0-5 this year. So Kansas City with a huge 4th inning. A 39-pitch 4th inning for Tanner Bybee. As Kansas City's first 5 all reached in the 4th, 4 scored, and they did not look back as they take the series opener tonight. And now we turn our attention to tomorrow, where Gavin Williams will try to right the ship for Cleveland. Noah Cameron, left-hander, will go for Kansas City. Stay tuned. Guardians postgame is coming up next.
Learn how AbbVie could help you save.